So if you're a sergeant in the police and you're after a set of these, you're going to have to go through a promotion process. And you know this already because you've already gone through a process to be a sergeant. But the game is different. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about 3 big mistakes that 30 years of experience in coaching people through the promotion process has taught me that people make on such a consistent and regular basis. I'm going to talk to you about how to avoid those 3 mistakes. And also in the second video in this series, which you'll be able to watch inside our exclusive Facebook group, check the link below. I'm going to link those mistakes to, and what you need to do to avoid them, to the competency and values framework. Yes, the 2024 version. So for those of you who haven't seen any of these videos before, my name's Brendan from Blue Light, and over the past 39 years now, I've been involved in the police sector. Yes, I joined the police in 1985. I am that old. And for the past 30 years, since I got promoted to sergeant, I've been helping people just like you to succeed in promotion boards, specialist interviews, and over the past 14 years in the recruitment process. Thousands and thousands of people have been successful as a result of my support. Don't just take my word for it though, check the Trustpilot reviews below. They say everything. I mean, and thank you to everyone who's given those reviews, 5-star reviews all the way, just absolutely amazing. So thank you. So are we ready to dive in? Are we ready to dive in? All right, let's dive in then. So 3 big mistakes that people consistently make. And they've been making these mistakes ever since I started, like I said, coaching people for the promotion process 30 years ago. Over the past several years, we've been running something called the Academy. This is where we provide people with one-to-one coaching, small group webinars, online material, everything they need to prepare for their board. So much so that for those people we accept into the Academy, we actually guarantee they're going to pass their board. I mean, that is bold, isn't it? But we are that good. It's not just me anymore. I've got this great team around me of people who, just like me, have helped other people during their career, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And so this is a sort of amalgam of all the learning that all of us have come up with. There's like 150 years worth of learning. And here's the number one. Here's the number one. So in your answers, the rear-facing answers, and in your forward-facing answers, you speak too much about what you're going to do or what you did do, and not enough about what you're going to enable other people to do. Because remember, when you're an inspector, you're not going to be doing much of the doing. You know, there's certain statutory things that you've got to do, like reviews or authorizations, but make decisions. You've got to make decisions, of course. But most of the stuff that you're going to do, 95% of everything that you do is about enabling other people to do what they need to do to be effective, to perform, to align themselves with the goals of the force, to address the needs of the communities at that moment in time. So as opposed to being a leader as a sergeant, where you've got constables to lead, where you're very much directing constables to do things. Now, you shouldn't be directing constables to do anything, and you shouldn't be doing lots of things yourself. You've now got a lot more people who you can delegate to. And so that's a classic mistake that people make. They talk about things that they did. And what I'd like to see more of in your answers is things that you enabled other people to do. So how you enabled, if you're in an acting position, a temporary position, how you enabled your sergeants to do what they need to do to make sure the constables, PCSOs and other members of staff do what they need to do. Is this making sense? I mean, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it's sometimes the simple things that people get so wrong in their answers. All right, number 2, they don't pass the sergeant test. So this is something, whenever I listen to an answer, or if I do a one-to-one with someone or on our weekly webinars and we do practice questions, I listen to their answer and think, could a good sergeant do that? Could a good sergeant do that? And if the answer is yes, a good sergeant can do that, then your answer's at the wrong level. Your answer's at the wrong level. Remember, in terms of the CVF, the Competency and Values Framework, you're at a new level now. You're not level 1 anymore. You're definitely at level 2. And I'd even aim for level 3 in terms of how you behave and the behaviors you exhibit and the behaviors you're going to talk about, you're going to exhibit in the future for the forward-facing questions. So if a really good sergeant could do the thing that you're talking about, then all you're doing is describing how you're going to be an amazing sergeant, but that's not the point of the board. They're looking for people who are going to be amazing inspectors. Remember, you're going to have a superintendent, chief superintendent on this board. You might even have an ACC, and who knows, you could even have the chief constable wandering in to do some of the inspectors' boards. That has happened in the past. You've got to make sure that you're pitching at the right level. And if you're not, you are going to fail. And they're going to just sit there and think, awesome sergeant, wish I had him on my team, but not ready for the rank of inspector yet. And number 3, and this is where I think sometimes people play the CVF game a little bit too much. And they talk very much about how they can do the job. And a lot of people say, well, I've been acting now for 9 months. I've been in a temporary position for a year. I can do the job. Yeah, of course you can do the job. Everyone knows that you can do the job. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put you forward for the promotion board. But the thing that's often missing is value added. What value are you going to add to the team, to the organisation, to the strategic direction of the police service, your police force? What value are you going to add? And this is why a lot of people who have been in a temporary position, I think, get a bit too comfortable with their role, and they're seen as a safe pair of hands. And they might be promotion ready, but they're not promotion board ready. Because remember, you've got a superintendent, chief superintendent looking at you thinking, yeah, that just sounds like they can just do the job of an inspector. But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who can do the job of an inspector and add value to my team. Because that's ultimately the question they're asking themselves. Let's not forget that the superintendents and chief superintendents have had just as much training on what the CVF means as you have. And often they might have had no interview training whatsoever, or it might have been 2 decades ago. So they understand the CVF just as much as you do. What they're really thinking in their back of their minds is, can I see this person on my team? Can I see this person as the inspector in charge of my borough, my division, whatever you choose to call it, on a night shift when there's no one else there, there's no one else in command except for the duty superintendent, duty chief superintendent, who's probably going to be spending most of their night life on a night shift doing authorizations and dealing with all sorts of superintendent level type things. Can I see them holding the line? Can I see them holding everything together? Do I trust them to act on my behalf? And if the answer is no, they're probably going to fail you. They're going to be more persuaded that you are that safe pair of hands when you can demonstrate that you can add some kind of value, when you can demonstrate that you can offer something that they didn't even know existed. That's where you really crack it. Because what we're aiming to do on this board is have them on the edge of their seats thinking, I'd be an absolute idiot if I failed this person. That's exactly where we want them to be. And if we can get them to that point, then they are going to pass you. But if they just sit back and think, yeah, talk too much about what they're going to do, didn't pass the sergeant test, and yeah, they can do the job, but can they do the job when it really gets painful and it really gets difficult? Can they have those hard conversations with partner organisations? Are they going to be able to inspire me that they're going to add value to my team? Because if you can't add value to their team, why should they take you on? So there you go, 3 big mistakes, and these are consistent ones. I'm not saying they're the only ones. I mean, in our one-to-ones and our webinars, we uncover far more than 3. Listen, there's more than several, but those are the 3 big consistent ones that I want to share with you today. Hopefully that makes sense. In the second video, I'm going to talk to you about how some of these things actually relate to the new competency and values framework. Now, I don't want this to be something that you're going to regurgitate, but I think you should be cognizant of what you're talking about and how it relates to elements of the CVF. Not that you want to be driven by that, but you should be cognizant of what's going on with the CVF and be familiar with it. You don't need to revise it so that you can know it inside and out, and no one ever does. And don't be falling into the trap. Here's a bonus top tip for you. Don't be falling into the trap of thinking, oh, that's a courage question, so I need to align all of what I'm going to say with the behaviours that are in the value of courage. No, what are those behaviours again? Because trust me, none of you can remember all the behaviours in all of the CVFs. And as soon as you start doing that, you're going to sound like a robot. You're not going to sound natural, and they're going to fail you. Make sense? All right. Look forward to seeing you in the second video. You can find the second video inside our Facebook groups. We've got a Facebook group that is just for people who are in the job looking to get promoted. And we've got a Facebook group for everyone who's in the job and also aspiring to be in the police. That one's got almost 25,000 members at the moment, which is just insane. I never believed 7 years ago when I started off with just one person, me, that it would get to 25,000 people. So do join that group. There's a link below. And if you search for 3 big inspector mistakes in the search engine for the Facebook group, you'll be able to find this video and also the second video as well. So a bit of a teaser there to get you into the group, but at least I'm honest about it. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about the Academy program, where we can actually guarantee your result in the promotion process, saying that we don't accept everyone. Just because you're breathing and you've got a pulse doesn't mean to say we're going to accept you into the Academy program. We do say no to people, either 1, because they're not suitable, or 2, because quite frankly, they don't need us. And we don't want people putting Trustpilot reviews on there saying, yeah, I bought into this program, it was a great investment, but I didn't actually need it. It's not a look we want. So check the links below. You'll find out a little bit more about the Academy and how to join it. Look forward to seeing you either in the Facebook group or on my weekly Ask Brendan Anythings in the Academy. And I'll catch up with you in the next video. Speak to you soon.